Welcome to Movie Recall. In today's video, we will be going through the 2005 movie, Just Friends. It's time to recall. Let's get started, turn on subtitles, and spoilers ahead. The movie starts and we are taken to 1995 where we see an obese boy named Chris. He is a senior in high school and he happens to have a huge crush on his best friend named Jamie, who is a very attractive girl. We see Chris Brander sitting in the girls' room. He has gotten his hands on her yearbook and goes on to write a love note for her, confessing that he is deeply in love with her. He then gets on his bike and makes his way to the graduation party. He is expecting that there is just going to be him and 4 other people at the party, but it does not really turn out to be the case. He is shocked when he enters the house. It is jam-packed with his schoolmates who are also his fellow graduates. Chris wants to see Jamie right away because no one else really cares about him. He starts looking for her and spots her dancing like crazy. She's going wild at it, but she looks beautiful. When she sees him, she right away goes on to grab his arm and takes him to the bedroom upstairs. They are sitting on the bed together and Chris is a little nervous now. He then finally gathers the courage to tell her what he wrote in her yearbook. But just as he is about to say that, they are interrupted by Tim, who once used to be Chris's boyfriend. Jamie then goes on to kick Tim out of the room, and as he leaves, Chris picks up a book and starts reading his confession to Jamie, but soon realizes that Tim has taken Jamie's yearbook in which he wrote that confession. He is horrified because Tim is a bully. He right away comes downstairs, but it is too late by then, and Tim is shown reading his confession out loud to everyone at the party, and all of them are having a pretty good laugh about it. Jamie goes on to follow him, and she finds everyone making fun of him. The fat boy rushes out of the house, and Jamie goes on to follow him outside. She tells him that she too loves him, but just like a brother. He is horrified to hear that because he wants to be romantically involved with her. Chris is about to leave when the whole class comes outside and they go on to make fun of him even more. Chris is sick of it and tells them that he is going to become something big one day and he will show it to everyone. The scene changes and we are taken 10 years later. A womanizing Chris has lost weight and lives in Los Angeles as a highly successful record producer and vice president of the company he works at. As he is talking to some girls at the office, he is called in by the boss called KC. It is just before Christmas and the company CEO, KC, asks him to accompany emerging self-obsessed pop singer Samantha James to Paris so she signs with their label, and Chris reluctantly complies. He is reluctant to go with her because he happens to have a history with that woman, and once they went on a date and he ended up in a hospital after that date. Chris then makes his way to see Samantha and she is singing and dancing when he gets there, but when she sees him entering the hall, she starts making sensual moves and the next thing we see, she's running towards him. She goes on to hug him and forces her lips on his. He wants to have nothing to do with her, but she forcefully makes him sit on the couch and sits in his lap and starts making out with him. She wants to do it with him right on that couch. She tells him that she wants to have a physical relationship with him, but he makes it clear to her that he has no interest in doing that whatsoever because she is nothing but crazy. It is later that night, they get on a private jet, and during their flight, she picks up her guitar and goes on to play for him. But he does not feel like listening to that at all. Samantha is someone who finds it hard to sit like a normal person. When they are still in the jet, she goes on to cause a fire, which is why they have to make an emergency landing in New Jersey, and Chris reveals that they are near his hometown. They wait for the jet to be repaired, but after a while, they are told that it is going to take some time, and they are not going to be able to fly again until tomorrow. Chris now has no choice but to take Samantha to his mother's house, who is thrilled to see them. His mother first goes on to scream as she is too excited to see him, and then she starts crying because Chris has not been to his hometown since the last 10 years. Chris steps into his room after 10 long years, and he goes on to think about the days when he used to be in his school and had a thing for Jamie. He then takes a look at some old pictures and realizes that he still has feelings for Jamie. He then goes on to sit with his mother, who cannot believe that he is actually there. He tells her to take it easy, and then they are joined by his teenage brother named Mike. He is shocked as he sees Samantha in the house. He sits by her side and gets really close to her, and as he looks in her eyes, he tells her that he has always been a big fan of her. He tells her that he even has a poster of hers in his room. Chris then takes Samantha out that night, and while he is in the market, he runs into his friends Clark and Darla. They used to be his friends when he was in high school, and they are married now. They are shocked to see how much Chris has changed and how handsome he actually looks right now. As he walks on, he ends up running into the man who always used to bully him at school. He is now nothing but an alcoholic, and his life is shit. Chris then goes to a bar and is shocked when he sees Jamie behind the counter. She is now a bartender, and when she sees Chris, she tries to hide from him, but he still approaches her, and they passionately hug each other. She is shocked at how much he has changed. He then goes on to tell her that he is just in town for one night, adding that he is leaving first thing tomorrow. He says his goodbye to her, but as he walks away, he comes back and goes on to ask Jamie out on a date. He tells her that his plane might get delayed one more day. He wants to spend some time with Jamie, but Samantha wants to leave right away. He then goes on to call his brother and tells him to keep Samantha busy for the whole day tomorrow, and he of course agrees. He then talks to Samantha and tells her that she should go to the local mall and meet her fans because she has a lot of fans in this town, and it would make their day if she could have a meet and greet with them. Samantha does not agree until he drags her to the car and makes her sit in it. She now has no choice but to do it. His brother Mike drives her away to the mall. Chris, in the meantime, prepares for his big date with Jamie. He goes on to rent a sports car and picks up Jamie. They go to an old cafe where they used to come when they were just teenagers. They have a good time together, and when he is about to drop her off at her place, he says goodbye and ends up leaning in for a kiss, but it does not turn out to be a good idea because she has something else in mind, and she just hugs him, and it turns out to be an awkward moment between the two. She enters her house, and he makes a long walk back to his car. He is really angry at himself because he is well aware that he has screwed things up with Jamie by trying to be cocky. When he is acting crazy in his car, making weird gestures and talking to himself like a crazy person, Jamie comes to get something she forgot in his car, but she is totally weirded out when she sees him doing that. He makes his way back home with a long face, and at night, he is not able to sleep knowing the fact that he screwed things up. He finally gathers the courage to call her again and asks her out on another date. They decide that they are going to go ice skating together. When they are out there, they run into some of Jamie's students. They are nice to Chris and ask him if he would like to have a friendly game of ice hockey with them. He is, however, not good at it. They make teams, and the boys in the other team go on to manhandle him with ease. The kids in his team get annoyed at him and give him a lot of crap for being so bad at it. Chris gets pissed, and in the next round, he just starts being violent. He takes things too serious and ends up injuring himself. We then see a paramedic carrying Jamie in his arms, and it is revealed that he also had a crush on her for a long time and wants to get in her pants. Chris is badly injured. They go on to put him in an ambulance, and on the way, Dusty and Jamie are sitting by his side, and he is sick of the fact that Dusty cannot stop hitting on Jamie, and he wants to take her on a date. Chris wants to say something, but he is wearing an oxygen mask, so he is not able to say anything. They get to the hospital, and Chris is treated for his injury right away. He then gets back home and is shocked to see his brother Mike giving a massage to Samantha, and he seems to be enjoying giving the massage more than she is enjoying taking it. He is hopeful that he might do it with Samantha, which is his fantasy, but Chris tells him to stop that right away. Samantha is wearing nothing but a towel, and she gets annoyed at Chris because she too had started enjoying the massage. That night, Chris again goes on to call Jamie and asks her if she would like to go watch a movie with him, and she agrees, but she ends up bringing Dusty with her as well. Chris is extremely pissed at that because Dusty not only wants to get in Jamie's pants, he is really annoying too. He is so annoying that he goes on to ask Chris's mother to join them for the movie. They all go to the cinema together, and Chris is extremely pissed. Dusty, however, gets a call from the hospital and quickly makes his way there, and as they get back, Jamie now has all her attention to Chris. They spend a lot of time together and talk about the days when they used to be best friends in high school. It is Christmas Eve, and there is a party at Jamie's place, and Chris wants to go there. Samantha is really annoyed as they have now been stuck there for days. Chris decided that he is going to express his feelings for Jamie once again at the party and tells his brother Mike to keep Samantha busy. He tells him not to reveal his location to Samantha at all, and we learn that she is just pretending to be asleep. She's overheard everything already. He is pissed when he goes to his car because Mike had left the window open and it is now full of snow. He now has no choice but to go on a bicycle. He finally gets to her place and is ready to tell Jamie how he still has a thing for her, but he is pissed when he sees Dusty there. Dusty has gathered a lot of people there, and he is charming them all with his guitar playing skills. Mike is in his room when Samantha goes on to attack him from behind. She pins him to the wall and tells him to reveal the location of his brother. Mike, however, refuses to tell her anything, and she gets really annoyed. She then remembers that the young boy really has a thing for her, so she goes on to touch him in a manner that is inappropriate, but the young boy enjoys it. He loses control when she puts her lips on his, and he ends up revealing his brother's location to her. Samantha has had enough now. In a rage, she drives to Jamie's, crashing through her fence and destroying the Christmas decorations. Chris returns home in embarrassment, and Jamie follows. She tells him that she is not mad, and they end up spending the night catching up and reminiscing. However, due to Chris's continuing lack of assertion, they end up just sleeping and nothing happens. The next day, Jamie speaks with Darla about the night before, while Chris goes to Clark for advice. Jamie admits that while they are just friends, she tried to show Chris she is interested in more. Clark tells Chris that the timing wasn't right and their history hinders them. Outside the office, Chris and Clark catch Dusty singing to a nurse and then kissing her. Dusty reveals his plans to have sex with Jamie and humiliate her in a way he felt she humiliated him in high school when he was attracted to her. Chris tries to warn Jamie, but instead attacks Dusty in front of her. She refuses to listen when he tries to explain. Consequently, he gets drunk and goes to Jamie's bar, finding her there with Dusty. When she gently declines Dusty's sexual advances, he storms out. Chris and Jamie get into another fight where he blames her for keeping him in the friend zone, and she says she will never amount to anything. Jamie punches Chris, and he is tossed out. Upon returning to Los Angeles and rejecting Samantha's continued advances when she sees him again, Chris realizes that Jamie is his one and only true love. He returns to New Jersey, declares his love to her, and they kiss, while the three kids from the hockey game earlier watch in disgust. And with that, the movie comes to an end. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.